Hockey town, going down to hockey town, whoa, whoa. Hockey town, take me down to hockey town, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hello, hockey fans. The Minnesota Hockey Connection Show is on the air. It's February 7th. It's a Monday, and we're at PACT-TV studios. Lots to talk about. High school, college, and the Wild get back in play now after the All-Star break. So we'll start with high school. It's less than, we got just about 10 days before the play-in games for playoffs and all the sections start. So any section that has more than 8 teams will have play-in games. And that'll start on Saturday, February 19th. And I've been watching a lot of high school games in the last couple of weeks, and I put out my rankings every Sunday, and here's our rankings now for this Sunday, February 6th. And number 1, we still have Creighton-Durham Hall, and they'll probably be there at number 1 until the end of the season, until the playoffs, because their schedule is not that strong for the rest of the season. Number 2, Andover keeps rolling. They've had some good games, and big game this week. They got Grand Rapids up in Grand Rapids, and both teams are in Section 7AA, and I think the winner will get the number 1 seed in 7AA. So that's Tuesday night up in Rapids, and that should be one heck of a game. And I see these two teams playing in the championship game for 7AA at Amsoil Arena on March 3rd, which is a Thursday night. Number 3, we got Benil St. Margaret. And Benil, another team that probably has a weaker schedule and probably stay in that area for the rest of the regular season. And they're playing pretty good hockey right now, and they're beating, last couple of weeks they beat a couple good teams. Number 4, I have Moorhead. Moorhead keeps, I don't know, a lot of people are surprised by this team. I think they're 1 year off, a lot of good juniors, but hey, number 4. So Moorhead and Roseau up in 8AA, AA. Class AA are the two teams that I see fighting for the chance to come down for the state tournament. Number 5, Hill Murray. I saw Hill Murray on Friday night down at Aldrich Arena, their home rink. And they played Edina back-to-back, and great game. Hill scored with about 30 seconds left in the game to tie it, and then they won in overtime. But then the next night they went over to Edina, and Edina is in the top 10, and they beat Hill 3-1. So a lot of parity in Class AA. I see about at least 15 teams that can win the state tournament at this point. We just got to see which team gets a hot goalie, and that's what wins tournaments too, especially in the boys state high school league, is what team will finally have a hot goalie for 4 tough games, maybe 5, if you have a good semi in the sections. Number 6, Maple Grove. I saw Maple Grove a couple times in the last week. And I like this team, and I think they can do damage if they can get to state. But we'll see. They have Andover at the end of the week, so it should be a great game down in the cities. Number 7, Grand Rapids. I've always had Grand Rapids in the top 10 on my list this year every week. And most people didn't have them on the top 10. I don't know why. This is a good team. But we'll find out, because this week they play Andover, which is the number 2 team, and a good St. Thomas team, where former Duluth East high school coach Mike Randolph, is now co-coaching down at St. Thomas. And St. Thomas, just talking to Coach Randolph, they should have a really nice young class coming in next year. And I can see that team fighting for state championships in the next 2-3 years. Number 8, Roseau, another northern team. That's good to see some northern teams that are playing good this year. And Roseau's 18-3, so they got Centennial. Let's see, they got Centennial at the end of the week, I think. Yep. And number 9, Edina, Lake Conference team. All those Lake Conference teams, Edina, Minnetonka, we've got Wayzata, all the Eden Prairie, all those teams, they play each other, and then they play outside of their league conference games. Very tough teams. Their schedules are some of the toughest in the state. And that's why these teams in the Lake Conference have been winning the state championship, I feel, in the last few years, last 10 years at least, where they win most of the state championships because their schedule is just so good and makes them really good at the end of the year and ready to play in the playoffs. And number 10, Lakeville South. I've only seen Lakeville South a couple times so far this year. It's a very good team, but the reason I don't put them any higher is their schedule, another team with their schedule. Cretin, I could do the same thing, but what I like about Cretin, they have a very good goalie that I like, and they have all their skaters back from last year, so that makes them very strong, and they were up there in the top 5 last year in the rankings. And some teams to watch, we got Centennial, Gentry Academy, Prior Lake, Rogers, and Wayzata. So some very good teams in high school hockey, and in Class AA, a lot of parity. Over in Class A, I'm not going to name all the rankings, but it's going to be Hermantown and War Road, and then all the rest of the teams. I mean, even though I have Montemita down at 9 now, I can see Montemita upsetting one of those teams if they play in the semis in the state tournament in Class A because of their goalie, Ben Dardis. So that's the only team I can see doing any damage. I see Hermantown and War Road in the championship game, and I hope it is true that they make it to the championship game, because it'll be, I think, the most fans at a Class A championship game since they went to 2 classes, and that would be great for hockey fans. And there'll still be talk about Hermantown staying in Class A all the time, so who knows what's going to happen with Hermantown. They might change and do go to Class AA pretty soon, so but that's another thing to talk about later. So, yep, Hermantown and War Road are the 2 teams, and then everyone else, like Little Falls, Delano, Detroit Lakes, Fergus Falls, Alexandria, Cambridge, and Montemita. And teams to watch, Chicago Lakes, Duluth, Denfield, Mankato East, Northfield, and Providence Academy are the rest of the teams to look at. The playoffs, like I said, are starting in a couple, well, no, that's in a couple weeks. Saturday, the 19th of February is the play-in games, and then Tuesday, the final 8 play their quarterfinal games on most of the sections. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the Class AA teams in each section. In Section 1, I really like the Lakeville teams. They've been playing each other for the championship almost every year. Farmington, I think, one year had a pretty decent team, and they got to the championship game and to the state. But Lakeville South and Lakeville North, I see being in the championship game in Section 1 AA. In Section 2 AA, we got EP, Tonka, Prior Lake, Chaska, and I can see EP and Tonka playing in the championship game there, 2 Lake Conference games. But Prior Lake's been playing a little better too since the beginning of the season. They started out slow, but they had 3 kids that came back from juniors that really everyone thought would help this team big time, and it has, but they haven't been playing as good as many hockey fans thought they would. But now they're starting to play a little better, so we'll see how Prior Lake does. In Section 3, I like St. Thomas playing Cretin in the championship game with, we got Eastview and Rosemont as dark horses in that Section 3. Section 4 AA, it's Hill Murray and Gentry Academy. I see in the championship game in the sections, and we got Stillwater and White Bear Lake as the dark horses. Section 5, boy, that's going to be a tough one, but the favorite is Maple Grove in the championship game, either against, I'd say, Rogers or Centennial in Section 5 AA. And Section 6, boy, this is a tough section right now. You got Benil, you got Edina, we got Wazetta. These are all teams that have been in the top 10 most of the year. So that's going to be a very tough section. And a funny thing about Section 2 and Section 6, they used to have a doubleheader for the finals at Mariucci. And they did get big crowds there. But this year they're going away from Mariucci. And so Section 6, which has Edina, is going over to Big Bloomington Ice Gardens. And Section 2, which has Eden Prairie, Tonka, Prior Lake, they're going to Braemar and Edina to play their championship game on the same night, March 2nd. So a lot of hockey fans don't like that because they were getting 2 games for the price of 1 over at Mariucci. So, but it is what it is. Section 7, boy, if I see Andover and Grand Rapids, and they're playing tomorrow night, Tuesday, on February 8th. If they two get to the finals, I see a big crowd, even though we don't see a Cloquet or Duluth East at Amsoil for the finals, which is March 3rd, Thursday night. And that would be probably one of the games I would go to no matter where I lived in the state. So Amsoil on March 3rd, I can see Grand Rapids and Andover in the finals. And then Section 8 is another, could be a classic finals with Roseau and Moorhead. I have had these 2 teams in the top 10 all year long, and I don't see anyone but those 2 teams. But St. Michael's, Albertville, I see as one team maybe, and maybe Elk River is back over in Section 8 now. So we'll see. But Roseau and Moorhead are the 2 teams I see in the finals. So get ready. Playoffs are starting in a little while. A week and a half from now. Okay, getting back to some pro hockey. We haven't talked pro hockey for a while. What I have, the Wild were off this last weekend because of the All-Star break. But here's a team that's really playing pretty good hockey. Right now, they're in 3rd place on the Western Conference Central Division, but there are 3 less games than Colorado has played. So I like their chances of making the playoffs, and I like their chances of making the top 3. And right now, Minnesota has 59 points, and there's only 2 teams above them in the whole Western Conference, and that's Colorado with 68 and Nashville with 60. But the nice thing about it, Minnesota has 5 less games played than Nashville because of all the COVID postponements. So I can see this team, if they keep on playing decent, they can be a tough team at the end of the year. And some of the reasons I see that they played so good is that, hey, their goalies have played a lot better than I thought they would. And for sure, the number one reason is Kirill Kaprizov. And so far, he has 53 points in 40 games. That's amazing. 19 goals, 34 assists. And another reason just lately that I noticed I really like is this Matt Boldy. He came up from the Iowa team. He had an injury in that, and so they have to get him back in shape and that. But he's on the Fiala line, Kevin Fiala, and he's making that line score a lot of points lately. And he's got 10 points in 10 games so far in the National Hockey League. So what I see is if they can the Wild can make a trade before the playoffs, if they can get a skilled top 6 forward on any team and put it on the Fiala line with Boldy, I see they got 2 top lines then, because Hartman and Zuccarello with Caprisa, that's an amazing line right now. So they'll have 2 tough lines. And then the other kids on the 3rd and 4th line, they play hard and they don't give much space. They're not going to score much, but they don't allow much either. So, and then on defense, I'll tell you what, they lost Ryan Suter to Dallas. They traded him down there. And they got picked up Goligoski, the Grand Rapids kid, and I tell you what, they don't lose anything with Alex Goligoski, and they're both about the same age. I think they're both 36 years old, and I can see the Wild maybe making a trade, and I see one of the players I'd see that they can risk losing is Matt Dumba, but we'll see if they make any trades. Their salary cap is right at the limit, and they don't have much room. And truthfully, I hope they can do it this year, because I think they're going to have problems, because they got that Parisi and Suter big contracts to go against them the next 3 years. So I hope they can find a way to keep it going or make a trade to make them better even. So they're going to get back in action because of COVID and the games postponed. They're going to be playing Tuesday, tomorrow, February 8th at Winnipeg. Then they come back home on Saturday with Carolina. And then Monday they got Detroit Red Wings. And then on the 16th, on Wednesday, a week from this Wednesday, they go back up to Canada to Winnipeg. Then they come back home on Friday on 2/18 to play Florida. Sunday, 2/20, Edmonton, at Edmonton. Then Tuesday, February 22nd, Ottawa, at Ottawa. 2/24, Toronto, at Toronto. And then 2/26, Calgary. So they got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 games, boy. That's a lot of games. But I just hope they stay healthy, and I think they will be in good position in the playoffs if they can stay healthy and keep doing what they're doing. In the other divisions, though, teams that I like right now, Vegas has been picking it up a lot. And then over in the Eastern, they have a lot of teams. Boy, Florida has been hot all year. Tampa, the last 2 years, they won the Stanley Cup. They're right in the mix. Toronto, and then the other league, Metropolitan Division, they got Carolina with 64 and the New York Rangers, which is kind of a shock to me how good they're playing. I thought the New York Islanders were the best team. But, hey, we'll see. We're only halfway done a lot of the teams have about 4 or 5 extra games in what the Wild do, so especially on the West. So that'll be good for them going forward. They can gain points on a lot of these teams or get ahead of them more. So keep watching the Wild. They're fun to watch this year with some of the players they have. And then let's go to college. Pairwise, I'm going to start with the pairwise. So the top 16 teams in pairwise goes to the region. But what happens when they have the playoffs and the different league conferences, they teams that can win a conference that are not in the top 16 are automatically put into the regions. So usually the top 12 teams make it to the regions, or 13 teams, and you get about 2 or 3 teams that make it by winning their conference tournament. So let's just go over some of the teams in the top 12 right now. We got Michigan at number 1, Minnesota State number 2, Denver number 3, Western Michigan they're tied with Denver for number 3. Quinnipiac, one of my favorite teams in college this year, at number 5. Massachusetts, number 6, UMass. So that they won the Frozen Four last year. Very good team they had. Number 7, Minnesota Duluth. Number 8, Michigan Tech. Tied with Michigan Tech, Minnesota Gophers at number 8. Number 10, St. Cloud State. They just had a bad weekend. They lost to Denver both games this last weekend, so they got to get back. And it's kind of funny, Minnesota Duluth, UMD, is going out there tomorrow for a makeup game, and then I think 2 weeks later they have to do the same thing. In 14 days, they go out to make up that weekend series because of the COVID problem. So a lot of extra games for Duluth and St. Cloud State. And it's going to make a difference, these games, because these two teams will play each other 4 times before the season is over. Okay, and tied with number 10 is Ohio State. And then number 12, North Dakota and Notre Dame. So right now, if this was the end of the season, those teams would be in the playoffs for the regions to go to the Frozen Four. So, and right now it looks like almost like last year. There's 4 Minnesota teams that would be going to the regions. That's Minnesota State, Mankato. That's UMD, Minnesota Duluth. That's the Minnesota Gophers. And what's the other? St. Cloud State. And one thing about St. Cloud State, their coach, he's assistant coach on the USA Olympic team, so he wasn't there last weekend. And I'm just wondering if that really makes a difference at this time, because assistant coaches usually know what they have to do, but you never know. Coach could make a difference on the bench. But we'll see how these Minnesota teams go. And the other 2 Minnesota teams, Bemidji State, they're probably going to have to win their tournament in the CCHA. And they got Michigan Tech and Minnesota State in that league that are very good teams. And so that'll be a tough. So, but they can do it. And the other team, St. Thomas, is their first year in D1 college hockey, and they're not ready for region tournament yet. They're not, but they got a good coach and good recruiting, and they build a new stadium for their college team. And I think it'll be a very competitive school for D1 college hockey. And I think it'll help Minnesota high school players because they'll recruit a lot more high school players to play D1. So that's a good point. Let's see what we got going here. Oh, I was looking at some of the schedules for the rest of the season, and this week, some of the bigger games, like I said, is Tuesday night in high school hockey. We got Andover coming up to Grand Rapids to play. We got Chaska going over to Benil, St. Margaret on, let's see, what day would that be? Saturday. And then St. Thomas Academy goes up on Friday night to Grand Rapids, and then they come down on Saturday afternoon. So Northland people, you can get a good hockey game with St. Thomas at Hermantown. I think the games are usually 3:15 on Saturdays. So that's something to look forward to. Let's see, Maple Grove on next Saturday is at Andover. So there's number 2 team and number 6 team. Let's see what we got. Roseau plays Centennial up there next Friday night. Edina plays Tonka next Saturday night. And let's see, over in A, like I said, Hermantown plays St. Thomas Academy on Saturday afternoon. Minneapolis plays Gentry Academy. And that's about it with Class A. So get out there and see some high school games. You know, it's fun and it's ready for the playoffs, and especially get out to the playoffs. Most of the playoffs start on the 22nd of February, but there's playing games Saturday to make the top 8 teams on any section that has more than 8 teams. So they'll be playing games. And they go by the QRF. You can go to scores.net for the QRF to see all the how they rank all the high school teams. I don't like it. I like going back to the coaches meetings, and they pick their seeds like the old way they used to do it. And it used to be fun going to those section meetings and see how these coaches pick. So get out there and see some games, and thank you, Liz, Vicky, Jim at PACT-TV Studios, and see you at the rink.